Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to The Mixer, the segment on this channel where I give you guys all sorts of detailed analyses from all walks of life. I'll talk about people, places, animals, food, sports, traveling, the whole 9 yards. Hence why it's called The Mixer, because I like to mix things up in this huge playlist here with over 200 videos at this point. I wonder if I'm ever going to get to 300, so I can change that intro to say over 300 instead of 200, but still. So today's video is going to be a concept vlog, which just in case you're familiar, although I've done hundreds of them at this point, it's a video where I come here and just talk to you guys with very minimal, if any, editing at all. It's just me and the background music here, you know. It kind of harkens back to the old days of, you know, OG YouTube when people would literally just do vlogs talking, you know. Today I think they call those podcasts, you know, where they just talk and there's no editing, but still. I'm gonna talk about something that I actually think is really interesting that I've been thinking about for a while now, and I thought what better way to address my opinion and record a video for a public platform like YouTube. I'm going to be talking about collecting. I'm still not 100% sure on what the title of this video is gonna be, if it's like fear of collecting or fear of collection or why I'm afraid of collecting or something to the degree of collectionalism, you know, that sort of thing. You know, I'm not really, but it's not an actual innate fear, you know. That's why this isn't what's the damage. I'm not gonna complain about it. I'm just gonna give an opinion, which has been rarer and rarer lately in what's in the mixer, because I do the oh boy. All right, so now here we go, guys. Do you collect anything right now? You watching this video, do you collect something? Anything at all? Even if it's small, you might think it's insignificant, but you still collect it. Let me know in the comments what you collect and why you collect it, how long you've been collecting, and how big your collection is. And I'm going to explain why I'm very afraid of doing what you do, right? I used to collect things when I was a kid, you know. When you're a child, you love to have a lot of different things like toys and stuff, you know. I did collect a lot of toys, you know. I had different lines of toys that I liked, and I would like to pretty much like catch them all, just like Pokemon. Speaking of which, I did collect Pokemon cards, but I took Yu-Gi-Oh much more seriously. I probably had, you know, hundreds, close to even 1,000 Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you know, throughout my entire childhood and adolescence, you know. I eventually outgrew it, of course, but still, for a time there in my youth, I was obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I wanted to have pretty much all of them in existence, you know. And it's crazy because when you're a kid, you don't really think about how much your collection takes up physical space. You just want them, you know. You're like, I was never really worried about keeping my room clean or hoarding stuff, you know. I just wanted to, you know, have a lot of the things that I liked. And, you know, as time went on, I started to realize that this is like already climbing into my late teens, young adult years. I started to realize that the more you collect something, the more of that thing, like, how can I say, starts to take up more and more space around your house. It might seem obvious. I mean, if you collect something, obviously it's going to eventually grow exponentially, but actually think about that for a second. Have you ever thought about hoarding something? Like, when you collect a certain item, you're going to keep collecting it and collecting it and collecting it. It's going to grow as you add more and more and more items to your collection. And eventually, before you know it, without you even realizing it, you've become an obsessive hoarder. You know, that's like, it's a very fine line between collecting and hoarding. Like, it's a really thin line, you know, between one and the other, you know. And I think that some people, like, collectors, they border very, very close to that line, while hoarders, no, it doesn't really make sense that way. I think I think the analogy got away from me a bit here. Alright, let me try to rephrase it a little bit. The point that I'm trying to make is that I'm very afraid of hoarding, you know? There are people who do actually become like obsessive compulsive hoarders, you know, where it's not that they collect things, they just want things. They have a lot of items in their house and they just can't seem to be able to get rid of them, you know? And it's very useful, like, to declutter your area. You know, Marie Kondo has a very good philosophy with that. You know, I'm a big fan of hers. And because I live by myself, I've been living by myself for many years now, and I do hope to become a permanent homeowner one day, you know, get married, have a family, raise a few kids. I'm very, very scared of hoarding things, and you know, a lot of random items accumulating in my house, you know, and it's a little complicated because it also ties into my thing with organization. I talked about that on another video, you know, like a long time ago at this point. You know how I'm very, very organized, and I like to keep things in a certain way, which might be difficult when I get married and my wife is not the same as me. I hope she is though, but still, like, it really plays into this innate nightmare fuel that I have, you know, of having too many things and not being able to get rid of them, you know. I do enjoy downsizing. I think that downsizing is a very, very important factor for anybody, whether you live by yourself or with other people, you know. And I did do another video, more recent than the other one, talking about the essence of downsizing. I like that video. I like the idea, the concept, you know. But here's the thing. I have friends who collect items, you know, I have a friend who collects gaming consoles, you know, and I have another one who collects Legos, and, you know, it's really interesting because that one there represents, like, something that's very wholesome and nostalgic, you know, because me and him grew up playing Legos, not literally, but, you know, playing video games and stuff. We did enjoy some Legos too, I believe. There was a point where I outgrew them, but still. You know, it's really cool to know somebody who collects Legos because they are still, you know, relevant. You know, they are still selling. They're popular, you know, because it's timeless. Every generation of kids can enjoy Legos, you know, and adults can play with them too. But, like, you know, with him, it's cool, it's awesome. But it starts to make me wonder, is there an actual finite limit to how many Legos he can collect, or any other person who does? Because when you think of collecting items, you know, there are some more traditional ones that come to mind, like, I don't know, stamps, you know, or coins, right? There are people who collect snow globes. If you stop to think about it, with snow globes, there is a finite number. You know, you can eventually at one point in your life, even though it may take several years, you can collect every single snow globe, because if you're talking about going to a different country and owning a snow globe from that country as like a, you know, a memento, you know, like a souvenir, I mean, there is a finite number of countries in the world. You could collect every single snow globe, unless you're the kind of person who collects snow globes from like every country and state and city. Then you're gonna have a lot of work ahead of you, you know. Coins is the same thing, you know. Depending on the collection, you can collect a certain amount of coins to a certain degree, but, like, what about Legos, for example, or gaming consoles, the two examples that I gave? Gaming consoles are always going to be produced, you know? And there are people who collect video games, actual physical games, you know? I mean, that's a collection that's literally endless at this point, you know? Same thing with Legos. They will always keep making more Legos. So if you don't ever stop collecting, don't you think that at one point you might start hoarding? Now, hey, don't at me, all right? Don't take this the wrong way, you know? I'm not, you know, criticizing people who collect items. I'm just saying that I personally wouldn't, you know, because of the reasons listed here, you know? But then again, I have flirted with the idea of one day when I have a more, you know, a more permanent home, and I settle down, because I rent where I live right now, and obviously I'm not going to make long-term investments into a place that's not even mine, right? I would never buy this house where I live, you know. But when I do achieve, you know, like a more permanent residency somewhere, you know, I would like to have a sort of memorabilia room of sorts. I have come to love sports over the years, and I definitely wouldn't mind having kind of like, maybe you could call it a man cave, but I don't really think it would be a man cave, you know. It's not like a place that only I could hang out with my guy friends, you know. It's like just like a place where I can have a few collectibles, but that's the trick, right? I would not want to collect a lot of things, you know, like, for example, trading cards. You know, I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, but now if I could have maybe some sports trading cards, that would be nice, you know. But there has to be a finite number of something, you know, like, I don't know, I'm gonna start collecting sports memorabilia, you know. That's literally infinite. You know, sports have been around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and they will continue to be around for the next hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years until after I die, you know? So there has to be something specific. There has to be a certain goal, an objective, you know? Like, I'm going to collect sports memorabilia specifically from the teams that I support, or just a few select things here and there, you know? I'd like to have a room, like maybe in my, not a specific room, but maybe just my office, you know, where I could have, like, I don't know, maybe a replica of the Super Bowl Lombardi trophy, or the FIFA World Cup trophy, you know, the Stanley Cup trophy, and also the NBA Finals championship trophy, you know, like those kinds of things, the sports that I watch, you know, so I could just display them, you know, just like, but replicas, you know, just to have as decorations, you know, maybe some custom paintings of, you know, athletes, or the aforementioned trophies, you know, I don't know, people who inspire me, like, but collecting, when I use that word, it gets scary, you know, because collecting implies that you're going to be doing it for a very long time. You're going to invest a lot of money, you know, and there are collections that are very special and unique to people, like people who collect tickets from concerts that they went to, or sporting events, or this and that, you know, with families and loved ones and friends, you know, that's cool. But I have come to realize in recent years that collecting experiences is a lot more valuable than things, you know? Like, I really love going out to different places, you know, and learning about them, researching, you know, doing YouTube videos, meeting new people, taking some photos here and there, you know? And like, I do enjoy taking photos of the places where I go to, so they can serve as mementos for later on, but it's not the same, you know? I don't think collecting digital photos is the same as collecting at all, unless you actually collect physical ones, but maybe it is, I don't know. But it's like, the idea behind this experiences thing is that instead of collecting physical items, you know, you should seek to go out and explore life, you know, go to different places and interact with the people there, you know, and you know, have experiences and stories that you can share, you know, tales that you can tell to your kids and grandkids, you know, reminisce about the time that you went to these places and did these very unique things. That's why I fell in love with photography many years ago, and I'm not practicing right now, but I would love to get back into it, because the idea of going to places and using your camera to tell stories is amazing to me. I've always loved it, so that's what I think. Like, I would prefer to go to different places, like collect knowledge of things, you know, put time into studying. Like, I would love to read books about things that interest me, but I don't think I would like to have books somewhere in my house stored up, because then, like, if you never get rid of them, they're going to store themselves more and more, and you're going to become a hoarder next time you know it, you know? Because like, it's the same thing with video games. I have an Xbox One. For many years, I would literally collect physical games, you know? But the problem with physical media in video games is that when you play a game and you don't feel like going into it anymore, whether you've beaten it or gotten all the achievements and trophies, it's just there shelved. It's gonna stay there forever, you know, until you sell it or get rid of it. So I prefer digital games. I don't have any physical games for my Xbox. They're all digital and Game Pass, you know, and that's better because I don't accumulate things, you know, in my house. So I don't know, man. It might be a very unpopular opinion that I'm sharing, but still, to each his own. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. You know, I've been talking about this for a while, and these concept vlogs are a way for me not only to get my opinion out to you guys, but also to hear from you directly. So drop a comment below letting me know if you agree, disagree, if you collect something, if you don't, and you know what you collect and why you collect and this and that. And stay tuned to the community tab, because I will definitely run a poll or two, you know, talking about this. So it's fun to interact with you guys that way. I'm really enjoying it. And if you happen to like this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel, because I release videos every single day. And while you're at it, hit the notification bell too, so you can know exactly what time I upload, and it's all good. Beware the hoarding, guys. Once you start hoarding things, there's rarely ever any turning back. And that's it. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the non-collectible outro screen.